confusing to a guy that's unlearned. Right. But when you come into this and you start learning about the history and you put it all together to see the main picture, you start understanding. Oh, the Lord only came for the Israelites that were scattered among the nations. That's it. That's the mystery. Go on.
Even the mystery which had been hid from ages.
Which have been hid from ages. Go on.
And from generations.
And from generations. Go on.
But now is made manifest to his saints.
Made manifest to us now. That's why we're going through this lesson. Yep. It's made manifest to us. Now we understand what this mystery is. All right? While the whole world is in darkness, all right, they believe everybody could be saved. They're caught up in what? They're caught up in the mystery. But we're not. And that's pursuant to Amos 3:7, where it says, surely the Lord power will do nothing, but he revealeth his secret or his mystery unto his servants the prophets. Which proves what? We got to be the prophets, man. All right, and the word prophet is not a guy in a lotus position and he's like a genie, like the great genie of I Dream of Genie. I forgot the guy's name. Haji, yeah, the great Haji. You know, that's not a prophet. All right? The word prophet simply means to say before.
That's it.
Right? That's it.
Is it one more verse?
Yep.
It says, to whom the Most High would make known what is the riches of the glory of this mystery,
which he's doing. This prophecy is being fulfilled now. To us, to you brothers out there that are serious, that have these camps and you're going out there faithfully every week, you're kicking the word, you're part of this fold, man. Go on.
Among the Gentiles, Israelite foreigners,
right,
which is Yahushua and you, the hope of glory.
Right.
So it says among the Gentile, or among the ethnos, among the ethnic, our ethnic group.
Yeah,
because the other nations, they're not a part of this. They never were a part of this, and they never will be a part of this.
Another example or point I should bring up is Israel was known because I was dealing with this guy, and he basically threw a Romans 11 at me. All right, Romans 11, and this is what he used. See, that was that old Ariya doctrine. All right, Ariya taught that, you know, Esau held the Bible for us for a period of time.
They can't prove that.
Right, which, you know, held the Bible for us for a period of time while we went into captivity. And the justification of that is Romans the 11th chapter. Well, Romans the 11th chapter, when you really go into it, it's talking about Israel. Right? It's talking about the Israelite foreigners.
And the regular Israelites.
All right, because when you go into Romans the 11th chapter, it compares us to an olive tree. Right. Now, I asked this guy, I said, can you show me any scripture where Esau or any of the other nations were called an olive tree? Matter of fact, let's go there real quick. Romans 11, I think it's the 17th verse.
Yeah.
There is no scripture where you can prove that Esau or any of the other nations was called an olive tree.
Right, whether a natural olive tree or a wild olive tree.
Yeah, well, the point is that they were called an olive tree.
That's right.
Now let's read that prophecy.
Romans 11:17. And if some of the branches be broken off, and thou being a wild olive tree.
Right, so that's where this guy was using the branches that were broken off. That was Esau and the other nations being brought in or grafted in. No, I'm going to show you the branches that were broken off. Those branches were Israelites.
That's right.
They were broken off through guys like Alexander, through guys like Ptolemy, and later down the line, which pertaining to our lesson now, guys like Antiochus and their edicts. All right. They were broken off, all right? But then they were grafted in through who? Beginning with who? As a matter of fact, who was the first Israelite to be grafted in that wild olive tree?
Cornelius.
No, Yahushua.
Oh, okay. Right.
Yahushua was the first Israelite to be grafted back into that wild olive tree. Right. Because it's through Yahushua that any of us have any hope of making it.
Right. That's why he's the root.
That's why he's the root, right? But he's still part of the root. Is not the root part of the tree?
Yeah.
Of course it is, all right? Matter of fact, we got nothing but trees around us. All right, go on.
And if some of the branches be broken off, and thou being a wild olive tree.
So Israel became a wild olive tree through guys like Alexander, like we said. Hey, where the lesson, where the history tells you right there that they took oaths that they would keep their fidelity to the other nations. They became what? A wild olive tree. All right, go on.
It says, and thou being a wild olive tree were grafted in among them, and with them partakers of the root and fatness of the olive tree, Boast not against the branches, but if thou boast, thou bearest not the root, but the root thee.
Right, now, like I said, and we said earlier in the lesson, no Israelite can boast now.
Right.
Because the whole nation became a wild olive tree. Now, this is a scripture that I used, Jeremiah, you know where to go, Jeremiah, exactly. This is a scripture to prove that the olive tree is only talking about Israel. And like I asked the guy, I said, look, can you show me any scripture where it says Esau or any of the nations or the other nations were olive trees? He wasn't able to do it. And you can't do it because it's not in there. All right, go on.
Jeremiah 11, verse 14. Therefore pray not thou for this people, neither lift up a cry or prayer for them. For I will not hear them in the time that they cry unto me for their trouble. What hath my beloved to do in mine house, seeing she hath wrought lewdness with many?
Yeah, this is part of it, the history right here. They were required to take oaths, all right? They started worshiping the gods of the other nations, and that leads us into our next example. One of the main gods that they were worshiping during the time of Egypt, during the time of Ptolemy, was this guy Serapis. And Serapis was contemporary with Caesar Borgia, what Israel is worshiping today, known as Caesar Borgia. That Caesar Borgia concept came out of Serapis.
Right. Right. Yep.
That Caesar Borgia concept, you're going to see that, came out of Serapis.
Right.
All right? And Serapis was essentially, he was the son of Ptolemy the First.
Yeah, that was
He was a god being worshipped. Right. Ptolemy, the first son, Ptolemy set up his son, right. Ptolemy the Second, right. which was known as Ptolemy Philadelphus, right. which, when you look it up, it means brother loving, because he took his sister, his full-blooded sister, to be his wife, which at that time was unheard of, man. Right. Show you how wicked the so-called white man is. Well, this is the guy, Ptolemy the Second, that they set up to be a god, and he was called what? Serapis. And his sister that he married, Arsinoe, I believe her name was Arsinoe, she was also worshipped as a god. By who? By our people, by Israelites in Egypt. All right? Go on, brother.
What hath my beloved to do in mine house, seeing she hath wrought lewdness with many?
And that's part of the lewdness, that history that I gave you, that of Serapis being worshipped, his sister being worshipped. Go on.
And the holy flesh is passed from thee. Right. So you weren't being called Israelites anymore, because that holy flesh of Israel passed from thee. You became uncircumcised. You became a heathen. You became a Gentile.
Yeah, you're going to tell me an Israelite that's worshiping Serapis is going to circumcise himself? Or that's worshiping Ptolemy the Second's sister is going to worship? First of all, how you going to accept them as being gods when they committed incest?
Yeah.
But this is the crap that the Israelites were doing back then.
Yeah, and you had certain Israelites that were calling themselves Antiochians.
Look at them.
They were Hellenists.
Antiochus is wicked as hell, man. You see the death that the Lord gave Antiochus?
Yep.
All right, go on.
It says,
did you get to 16?
not yet.
Okay.
The holy flesh is passed from thee. When thou doest evil, then thou rejoicest. The Lord called thy name a green olive tree.
Look at that. The Lord called thy name. Who is he speaking to? Israel. A green olive tree. Go on.
Fair and of a goodly fruit.
This was when, go back to the time of Adam, before Adam sinned. That's when we were that goodly olive tree, fair and full of fruit. All right, go on.
It says, with the noise of a great tumult.
What's the noise of the great tumult? All those captivities that the Lord brought upon us,
Yep.
thereby destroying our nation. Each captivity we went into, our nation became more and more destroyed. All right, go on.
He hath kindled fire upon it.
Right.
And the branches of it are broken off.
That's when the branches, so through all those captivities we went through, the branches were broken off, meaning we were scattered.
Yep.
And did not our forefather Moses tell us that we would be scattered?
That's right.
Did not he prophesy unto us, and that record is found in Deuteronomy 28, that we would be scattered? Yep. Yes, he did.
It says, for the Lord of hosts that planted thee has pronounced evil against thee.
And those were the branches that were broken off. Now the branches that were grafted in was the elect among those people that were broken off being brought back into the fold,
That's
beginning with Yahweh Shai. That's it, man. That's the understanding of the mystery.
That's right.
All right? The Ariah doctrine, Ariah was going off, all right? I'm going to tell you like it is. He was going off.
Yep.
because that part of the history wasn't really revealed to him at that time.
Right.
All right? And like Elder Tahar said, this thing ain't just given to one man, all right? It's given to a group of men.
Yep.
All right? Go on.
For the evil of the house of Israel and of the house of Judah.
Right, for the evil. Go on.
Which they have done against themselves, to provoke me to anger and offer incense unto Baal.
Yeah, and an example of Baal is this character Serapis. Now let me read this and we can go into that. And this is going to be a series, by the way, brothers. All right, we have already dedicated ourselves to hashing this, going all the way into it, man.
Yep.
All right, bringing out all, squeezing every drop of history that we possibly can. All right, because we really want our brothers that are really into this truth to really understand this.
Right.
And when you go out and teach, to hammer it home, man.
Yep.
And the Spirit of the Lord, Yahweh Shemiah Shai, will jump on some of you brothers out there, and you'll bring out even more revelations, man.
That's right.
All right? Because that's how it goes. That's how it works. This thing ain't given to just one guy, all right?
That's right.
We're a body, all right? Of course you have it. The body has a head, but we're still a body, right? So reading on, it says, nay, there were not a few other Jews. Now listen to this. This is the history, and you'll see it. You can Google it and go into it yourselves, right? Now, mind you, this is from the Josephus. It shows you, like Elder Tahar said in one of the lessons, the Josephus, part of it is required reading.
Yeah.
All right? He said that in one of the shows that he did. Okay? Reading on, it says, nay, there were not a few other Jews who of their own accord went into Egypt as invited by the goodness of the soil. And that's that old, you know, Israel always had this fucking love affair with Egypt, man.
Yep.
You know? And it tells you in the book of Isaiah, the 30th chapter, woe unto them that go down to Egypt.
That's right.
All right? But they always had this love affair with Egypt. Even when we were taken out of Egypt by Moses, when we were in the wilderness, you had Israelites that desired to go where? Go back to where?
Back to Egypt.
Back to Egypt. They said, oh, Moses, you took us out in the wilderness for us to die.
Yep.
We would have been better off in Egypt.
We were eating good. We were doing this.
Now, what's the modern day Egypt?
America.
America. So you're going to have a lot of niggas, man, that are going to fight tooth and nail.
Yep.
They're even going to try to fight Yahweh Shai and the angels. For what? For this modern day Egypt.
Yep.
That old Egypt mentality. You got a lot of these Egyptology niggas
Yep.
that are Israelites, but their head is stuck up the ass of Egypt. Right? It's no different here. Right? Matter of fact, if you want, you can bring it out and expound on it.
Isaiah chapter 30, verse 1. Woe to the rebellious children, saith the Lord, that take counsel, but not of me, and that cover with a covering, but not of my spirit, that they may add sin to sin.
You got it, bro.
You know, that's why it says that cover with a covering, but not of my spirit. That's why the Lord said the holy flesh is passed from Israel. That's why today they don't know who they are.
Right.
And then when you tell them that they're Israelites, they don't want to be Israelites.
They want to go back to Egypt.
Yeah, they want to go back to Egypt. They want to stay here in America.
That's right. That's
You know?
right, man.
It says that walk,
Amazing.
that walk to go down into Egypt, and have not asked at my mouth to strengthen themselves in the strength of Pharaoh, and to trust in the shadow of Egypt.
Now, do you know that Ptolemy, right, took a title of Pharaoh?
Yep.
You know, Ptolemy took the title of Pharaoh when he took power. I think it was around 305 BC. He took the title of Pharaoh,
Right.
king of Egypt.
That's what Esau does. They take the titles and the lands of other people and the nationalities of other people and put it upon themselves.
That's right. That's right.
You know. And then today America is nothing but modern day Egypt.
Yeah.
You know, and the so-called presidents, which really they're not running anything, but they're like the puppet pharaohs.
Yep. Hey, the main pharaoh is Rothschild himself.
Yep.
Which the word pharaoh, and Elder Tahar always breaks it down, comes from the Greek para, which means the sun.
Right.
All right. So when this guy took over Egypt, when Ptolemy finally sat on the throne, you know, Alexander did the road work. He conquered those known nations, Egypt in particular.
Yep.
And after Alexander died, Ptolemy took over. He sat on the throne. Guess what he called himself? I am the new pharaoh. I am pharaoh now.
Yep.
Right? And a lot of our people, a lot of Israelites accepted that wholeheartedly.
Yeah, that's why you got people today that say that the original Egyptians were white because of the pharaohs that were during the time of Ptolemy. Those are nothing but Greeks, Greek Edomites.
That's right. Now, before I read that, you got any more on that, bro?
Yeah. It says, therefore shall the strength of Pharaoh be your shame, and the trust in the shadow of Egypt your confusion.
Matter of fact, I got the proof right here. This is another document I have. It's called Ptolemy the First. Ptolemaeus. It says Ptolemy the First Soda. Ptolemy First Soda from 367 to 282 BC, childhood friend and general of Alexander the Great, or Alexander the Great. Ptolemy took the title of king in 305. In 305 BC. This served as the first year of his reign, responsible for initiating a Greek-speaking, because Ptolemy was what? His main language was what? Greek.
Yep.
Right? Responsible for initiating a Greek-speaking administration in Egypt. Now, guess who was part of that administration? Israelites. So there you have your Israelites taking on or adopting the Greek customs. So thereby you have your what? Your Hellenists. Right? Responsible for initiating a Greek-speaking administration in Egypt, he consulted Egyptians, Manetho and others, exploiting their local expertise. And that's just what the white man does, man. He's an expert at that.
Yeah, he'll suck you for the information, and then he'll take it upon himself as if he's the Israelite.
That's where you get your so-called Jews from.
Right.
Your Jewish peoples. They exploited our history, man.
That's right.
And took it upon themselves to call themselves us.
Right. And that's why today people believe that they're us.
Exactly. Just like this character told me the first.
Yep.
See, that's why the history is so bad.
Yeah, that's the devil's MO.
MO. That's his modus, and he doesn't. You know what? Just like the historian Eustace Mullins said, he said that the bankers are not prolific. They're not smart. What did he say? He said that they're only doing
what had worked for other nations
in the past.
Right.
It's like they
recycled it.
They recycled a method.
Right.
They just have a method, and they stick to that method.
Yep.
They're not prolific or smart. They just have a method that has worked throughout the centuries, and they stick to the method. Well, part of that method is exploiting a culture, or exploiting a nation.
Right. That's why when you go back to the Masoretes, now the Masoretes during the 8th to the 10th century AD, they were Edomites. Because by that time you had the converts of the Khazars that were taking over. So
under Kagan Bullen, right?
Right, under Kagan Bullen, right. So then when they wrote the Bible in the Hebrew, right, there were certain things that they changed because they're not the Israelites, so they had to try to fit themselves in there. But now what they did, being the devil that they are, because the word Masorete comes from the word Masorah, which means tradition, and that was a tradition of the written record of the Torah and of the of the rest of the books that was kept by Israel. But what they did was they took the name upon themselves and make it seem like they were the Masoretes.
Yeah, get down, brother.
Hey, brother, that's
but that's how you got to be. No, that's how you got to be. That's how you brothers got to be, man.
Yeah.
You got to go into that history.
Yep. Hey, because
it's like you go into a woman, right?
Yep.
You're all into your woman, baby. Well, that's how you got to look at this history. It's like it's a woman, man.
That's right.
You got to get all into it.
You got to have sex with it.
You got to have sex with it. Yeah, you was going to make a statement.
Right, but that's the point, because you just read that he exploited, and that's what even on the comment board, these devils be exploiting us for information. But what do you think? What's the breakdown of this? Yeah. You know who's good for that?
Abu
is good for that. Yeah, he's
which
good
proves
for that.
He's a fucking heathen.
Yep, he's good for that. Or what do you think it means? Because one time I cut him with Isaiah 8:14, right, being a stumbling block. He said, well, what do you think that means? I said, well, if you can figure it out, then you figure out the mystery. I didn't break it down for him.
Hey, I'm going to read it again, all right? Ptolemy the First Soda, responsible for initiating the Greek-speaking administration in Egypt. He consulted Egyptians, Manetho, and others, which I don't have to prove, but I think this guy Manetho may have been an Israelite that lived in Egypt. But I don't have the proof, so I speak as a fool. But anyway.
Yeah, well, you always had Israel going back and forth to Egypt.
Yeah.
And they wasn't going by ships. You fucking jackass.
Anyway, it says, exploiting their local expertise.